Now it's time for more of Southern California's sports fishing voice. Let's talk hookup. Get ready for more of the best fishing information and the hottest tips on improving your angling skills. Let's Talk Hookup is sponsored in part by Ford, the official truck of Let's Talk Hookup. Shimano Rods and Reels. Fish with the best. Shimano. And now, Southern California's sports fishing voice, the hosts of Let's Talk Hookup, Pete Gray, Rock Cod Rick Mexa, and Corey Sandin.
Welcome back. Hour number 2. Let's Talk Hookup coming your way on the Let's Talk Hookup app, Facebook and YouTube Live, and 97.3 The Fan. Man, we're having fun. Captain Dave Ibrahim of the Tomahawk is joining us this morning. We are talking fishing and had an awesome first hour. The fish are biting. It's happening. The boat's going right now. It's just nothing but good in here, Corey.
Oh, having a great time. And in the world headquarters overlooking the landings here, and we can see the Tomahawk almost from right here. You can see it, yeah?
Oh, yeah.
Hey, if you want to join us, 833-288-0973. Kyle's waiting for your call. We do have one open line, and it's all yours right now. And again, at 833-288-0973. Or you can send us a text via the app. Make sure you do leave your name and telephone number, a way to get a hold of you, because Dave's going to flip the prize coin right there. At the end of the show, an overnight trip is going to go to one lucky winner, and that's an open party overnight trip. You know, any trip they have there at Fisherman's Landing. So it's super cool.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah.
We're having a really fun show this morning. Yeah, crazy prize. Unreal that somebody's going to get to go on an overnight trip, or maybe even longer at the end of the show. Hey, again, if you want it, 833-288-0973. Phone calls been packed up. Texts have been packed up. Let's jump right back into those phones, Corey.
Let's do it, Rick. How about Chuck calling from Long Beach? Good morning. Appreciate you joining us on Let's Talk Hookup, Chuck.
What's up, Chuck?
Good morning, guys. Good morning. Thanks for having me. So, Dave, I'm curious, how do you like to see people, or how do you like to set your rigs up? Are you a straight Spectra to short top shot of fluoro guy? Do you like to see some mono on there, a mix of the two? And do you change it up depending on what you're fishing for, like between yellowtail and bluefin or sea bass, that kind of thing?
Yeah.
Great question.
Yeah, I feel like I'm always whether it's a fly line gig, I always like having a little bit of mono. You know, whether it's a 25 piece of mono on top of Spectra or a 50-foot piece. At least for live bait stuff and or, doing the knife jig. Surface iron, that's another thing. I like doing a casting distance of mono plus 50 feet on the spool, just enough to where the knot doesn't get your thumb when you cast your surface iron. And then I usually do my, 4 or 5 foot top shot of fluoro. And if I find it even being more finicky, then I double that, maybe going a little overkill with the fluorocarbon, but I usually have mono for, 25, 50 feet for live bait, and then, 3-4 foot seems to be like the go-to there. But, yeah, it just depends.
Stretch.
But, yeah, just a stretch. Having a little bit of shock absorber, for sure, favoring more of the 50-foot top shot mono when I know it's going to be rough weather, just exactly that shock absorber.
And bluefin are just more difficult and unpredictable when they get close to the boat. They don't have that nice flat regular circle like a yellowfin does, and they switch around, and they shake their head, and they're going one way, and then next thing you know, they're going the other way, and they're just having a little bit of give. Boy, sure. Especially these days, we're fishing smaller and smaller and smaller hooks than we ever used to. And back in the day, you wouldn't ever think about using anything smaller than a 2-0. That was the smallest hook that we ever sold people for tuna fishing was a 2-0. Now I can't even remember hardly the last time anybody grabbed a 2-0 for fly. You look at that thing and think it's a gaff hook nowadays. And, just like we were saying with the reels, like something's got to give. You got to pick something one way or the other. Yeah. And, a smaller profile hook, there is no denying how much better that thing gets bit. But with a smaller hook comes, you're grabbing lesser meat of the fish, and you've got a smaller barb, and they're easier to shake out. And then you start taking the stretch of the mono away, and, you get yourself up in the bow, and the boat's rocking a little bit. Like, something's got to give somewhere. And having that extra little stretch of mono sure helps keeping a hook inside of a fish.
I know you think of all the variables like you laid out, Rick. I mean, the roll of the boat and all that stuff included in it, and that extra bit of mono, and it just, like you're saying, that rubber band, it just all that give.
Rods, we're so fortunate that like technology has come so far on rods, and they do so much more work for you than they did in the old days. you look at some of those old clips. I know AFTCO put a cool social media picture up of the RP doing one of their first Clipperton trips, and you see guys pulling on rods, and the hypalon is bending, and the only way you're gaining an inch of line is if you physically pull that fish that far and then pick up the slack. And now our rail rods are so good. You drop the thing on the rail, the rod does all the lifting for you. But again, we're taking, and you're just not putting any give back into the equation to catching your fish. The rods have a lot more power in the tip section where that used to be very soft, and they're doing all of that lifting for you. But that's just one more thing that's just wanting to pull that hook away from that fish.
Have you ever tried like an extended piece of fluorocarbon, like 20, 30 feet? I mean, it's not the cheapest way to go, but
it gets costly. But I can't say that I personally have. I think when I apply more fluoro than my normal, I'm doing like a 10, 12 foot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
because it's
that's still an extended piece.
It is. Yeah. It is, especially with a sinker rig or something like that. But it's all about the casting, the knot getting snagged in the guide. So that's why I keep it, at least the maximum to where it's outside of my tip, but I could still cast a bait out
and make a reasonable cast.
And make a reasonable cast, exactly.
That's where the mono we're talking about is the most friendly.
Exactly, it has to be.
Right.
I dig it. Hey, well, that's a great one. Hey, I had a fun text come through this morning, and it was from Riley in San Marcos. Man, I love this show. Quick question for Captain Dave. When you're targeting bigger bluefin, do you like to start the people with lighter line in hopes of getting more bites and go heavier if needed? Or do you recommend going heavy out of the gate to avoid leaving fish if the bite is on? What's the best strategy to land a big fish?
I feel like, of course, grade fish go-to for 100-pound fish, and say we're doing sinker rig daytime stuff. I feel like 60 pounds a go-to there. I feel like we all kind of have that just go-to pound test, just depending on the grade of fish, and it's you start getting in these areas where you got 80 pounders, 180 pounders, at least previous seasons. That's a tough one to scope for sure. It's more so of just knowing that, at least general bracket of that grade of fish and adjusting. That's why it's making sure I have, everything needed, just depending on that, always available on the boat. But 60 pounds probably my go-to if I know I'm going into big fish. Of course, heavier is better. If these things are eager, I always try to apply the heavier pound test, but it's definitely at least having eyes on it, or friendly guys, code boats or guys I talk to that have been on the fish, and it at least gives you that idea of what you're rolling into. But again, it's every day's different.
Sure, and every stop is different.
Every stop is different. Right. Yeah, seems like it.
Do you find that when the fish are biting the troll jigs and things like that, are they more aggressive when they're bait fishing? Does one thing not have does one not have anything to do with the other? Like, you get to see them all the time when they're going through those modes, and there's days when as soon as they get on you, they're biting every hooked bait, and there's other times where they just boil up and don't seem to want to touch the hook one. What is it about those things?
Oh man, it's navigating that one. It's of course, I try to think outside the box, and even take a note to the passenger that's caught 4 and versus the guy who hasn't. What are they doing different? That's a tough one.
Yeah, sure.
I just adjust on the fly. Always willing. Of course, you want to commit to what you're fishing if you're confident with it lure wise. But that live bait stuff, it's seeing what's in front of you, seeing how they react. If they're boiling, is the captain saying, hey, I'm marking them down deeper? It just tells you, if the guy on the tank is chumming, doing our steady 1-2 thing, and you're not hearing that guy on the tank yell boil, it's like, all right, well, maybe they're a little more standoffish. So adjusting and dropping line size and not going too light where it could bite you. So it's always a to be determined thing.
And you said probably the single most important thing earlier is keeping in good communication with the crew too. Yeah. And obviously when you step on board and you're just trying to put your rods and reels together, it's important to kind of get a rundown from before. But boy, on the fly too. I mean, those guys are there every single day.
Yep.
He was sitting right next to you with the glasses on, trying to find that spot. I mean, there is no better source. If you've got a question, that's one of the reasons you're paying that ticket price. You get to go fishing with the best in the world.
Yeah, I'm keeping them in tune. Calling them up to the wheelhouse and, hey, on this stop, I want you to walk around, check rigs, check drags. and just putting them in front of you.
Yeah.
So yeah, getting acquainted with them, learning their names,
Totally.
asking questions, telling stories along the way.
That's a good call. Well, those phones are packed up. Everybody's excited to talk to Dave. Maybe get their shot at winning a trip. Let's jump back into the phones, Corey.
Let's do that, Rick. How about Ryan? Appreciate you joining us this morning, Ryan. Ryan from Irvine. Good morning.
Good morning. Let's talk hookup. So for Captain Dave, the way we're seeing how this season is shaping up, what would you prefer to take? Offshore trips that leave in the evening, or offshore trips that leave in the morning?
Distance on the area of fish we're fishing, that factors in. It's almost like the night departures, at least like we were talking about on this last trip, like a 2-day night departure where we get in at night. I don't think we have any trips. I mean, maybe a couple that we get in at night. I like getting the full day for sure. Just, from morning to sundown. I favor the morning departure trips. It's, able to get our bait, cruise out, daytime fishing, whatever path we choose, having that chance of seeing something. But, a lot of these trips are based on having that nighttime action. So having the daytime thing and the distance the fish is at right now, having that option or at least chance of catching some that day we leave like we did on our last trip. But I feel like I favor that morning departure.
I wouldn't even pretend to know, but I would assume there's probably something good too about like you have the next 6 hours on your way out to the ground to like talk to all your colleagues that you work with. You're going to get a very good handle on what is happening real time. Like
hot off the press.
It's giving you a good opportunity to make your decision on where you're going and how far you're going. And, you're reacting to what's happening in the immediate, not what happened the night before or wherever else.
Exactly. Having that whole night in between, like you're going out straight rolling into it. And it was a treat getting that little sample when we got out there on our last trip, just, a little dose.
Yeah, there you go. There's a perfect, perfect example of it. You drove, you had the luxury of driving right to where it was because your code boats are on them, and that's how you get started. Now you're going to wake up in the morning where it was. Like
that's exactly it.
And there's nothing more exciting, like for Ryan that called in. By the way, thank you, Ryan, for the call. But being excited about, dude, it could be a yellowfin in the stop, could be a Dorado, and
seen something along the way,
and bluefin, all this different bait fishing. How big was your Dorado? Just out of curiosity.
It was like an 18-pounder.
Dude,
I'd say.
Are you kidding me?
It was a solid one. It definitely wasn't a little peanut.
Yeah.
Random. Stopped on a normal fishing bluefin stop and
we got
a Dorado.
No kelp, just open water. Hey, look at that thing jumping around.
I thought it was a bluefin at first. Didn't see that thing all lit up. It's like, ooh, there we go.
That's cool.
And dude, that's a legit fish. I mean, that's a 6 to 8 pound fish in the beginning that by the end of summer has turned into an 18-pounder.
Fastest growth rate.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Well, normally this is where we talk to our Anglers Realtor, Yosef Husseini, but we have a little special bonus. It's not the Anglers Realtor today. It's the man's, the boss, Danny from Fish Dope is on the line this morning. What's up, Danny?
What's happening, Danny?
Hey, good morning, Rick, Corey, Dave.
Good morning.
Good to hear from you, buddy. We're stoked. Always providing Yosef with such great info and do such a great job with Fish Dope. It's rare that we get to have the man behind the screen on the phone. So we're stoked to hear from you, buddy. Give us a rundown. How's things? How are you? And more importantly, how's that fishing?
I'm doing great. Loving living in the Keys. Kind of pissed off at Yosef today because I was going to go wahoo fishing this morning, but I got to do what I got to do.
Had to bail a brother out.
Yeah, that's right.
I like it.
So, anyway, let's start up first yellowtail of the season. Caught up at Santa Cruz Island. But there's no squid up there, no sea bass. I don't know if it's ever going to show up this season. It's not looking good right now. Santa Barbara Island, there's a little bit of yellowtail on the backside. Again, very little squid. Very little squid. The only squid that is in any kind of catchable number seems to be at Catalina. Backside between Cat Harbor and Ben Weston, there's a little bit in there. Hopefully with the full moon coming up, some more will move in. But, to be honest, water temps are getting kind of too warm for squid. It might not happen this year. San Clemente Island, there's a few yellowtail living on the front side spots, but they don't want to bite. They're they're just looking at the boats throwing bait. They're catching lots of bass and bonito, and the yellows are just kind of just eyeballing. But where I really wanted to go here, Dave stole my thunder. Yellowfin, Otto, and bluefin within 60 miles of San Diego is just insane. And the fact that you can just put out a couple of Halcos or a Mad Mac or a couple feathers, cedar plugs, and troll around and get bit. Damn.
In the month of April. Month of April, Danny.
Yeah, in April. Yes, I know. Now, okay, here's something else that's not been talked about yet. Between where the fish are down there, upper 500, 295, double 220, all the way to the 371, the water is clean. The water is warm. There is no roadblocks stopping those things from coming up the line. And I just looked at the current, and that entire zone is uphill current.
Wow.
Yeah, I bet. I don't want to be a predictor here, but
I think you are.
If they're up in the 371 by next weekend, it wouldn't surprise me a bit.
Oh, man. How fun. And, yeah, like you say, the expressway is open.
That's right.
I love it.
It
So,
is.
Well, I think
pretty much what I got for today.
There's no doubt we're in for some great ones. A great report, Danny. Excellent wrap up. You guys do such a fantastic job with Fish Dope. We talk about it absolutely all the time. And boy, this is the time where it really pays dividends. Early in the season, not all your buddies have been fishing, but if you're a member of Fish Dope, your buddies have been fishing, and you get the full rundown. You get to keep in track with the thing. You get to keep in touch with the trends, just like Danny's talking about. You can, with the hot bite icons on the temperature charts, you can see where guys are fishing, and you can look at it for 3 or 4 days in a row, see the direction that it's going. It's great information, all at your fingertips, and you can save $30 off of a new membership to fishdope.com by using the code HOOKUPNOW. HOOKUPNOW, all lowercase, no space, and man, can't say enough good things, Danny. Excellent job filling in for Yosef, and we sure appreciate everything you do for us here on Let's Talk Hookup.
You're welcome.
You're the best, buddy. All right, now go get that wahoo.
Tomorrow.
and send a shoulder fillet back this way. I think we might need a couple of months before they show up around this area. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it very much. Well, the phones are packed up, Corey. Let's jump right back into them.
Let's do that, Rick. How about Tim? Tim calling from Pacific Beach. Good morning. Appreciate you joining us.
Hey, Tim.
Hey, guys. Thanks for taking the call. I really appreciate it. I was sitting here thinking about if it wasn't for the bait companies and those people being or Ibrahim, if it wasn't for you guys, what would be a fleet? I mean, what did they do before, and how long have they been here? It's just, you got me thinking about this. What did they do before the bait was here? You know what I mean? And how long? It just really is the best, isn't it? Like, how could you do that? How can you pull it off with that?
It is an honest, historical thing. They've been symbiotic from day one. Yeah, from day one. And you talk to the old timers, and that's just the way it was.
Yeah, I mean, you look at some of those fleets up above that don't have live bait fishery, and it's
tough.
Yeah, it's smaller boats because you can't handle the amount of people, and it's 100%. Look at some of the albacore fisheries up there. It's 100% jig strikes, and you don't have bait. You certainly can't do it with the same volume of people.
Yeah, there's San Francisco Meatball Bait Company. I mean, there was, and not always is there availability. It's frozen, and you don't really need it for rockfish and lingcod, and I mean you could, right? But as far as the sport fishing industry, but when they get the albacore, then they're behind the ball. You know? Yeah. So it's just kind of
their own.
Yeah, and just enjoy it. I mean, that's all I can say. When you have a tough trip with it, like Dave did this past trip, it sucks.
It does.
There's nothing worse. Yeah, but hopefully it's not like that the next trip.
But even still, you have it. You know what I mean? And like we said, you always want a double plus perfect bait every trip. And you have that a whole lot more than you have the opposite. But even when it isn't a double plus, I'll take some C's, man. C's get degrees, man, and then that was sure felt yesterday. I mean, the bait wasn't ideal, and they still made a great catch.
Yeah, I know. We in this room don't take it for granted, but there's
you can't help it.
There's thousands of people. Your passengers, they don't know the intricacies and
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking about it today.
Yeah.
I've lived
There's a lot
it.
of steps to it.
I lived it for 12 years
Yeah.
and experienced it. Those guys, man, it's not an easy life. I'm just
Not
saying.
at all.
Yeah, well said.
Not that our life is easier, but you know what I'm saying.
Oh, I get you.
Yeah.
We had a fun text from Craig, and Craig was curious about trolling and jig striking, and I thought it was a great show for Dave because you have equal time on sport boats, but also you know a lot of stints on your own boat. You did a ton of private boat fishing as well, and he wants to talk about trolling. He says, first off, Dave, thanks so much for being on the show. Love the Tomahawk. My question is there any particular color on those Halco 190s? And then the second part, does anybody troll spreader bars? If so, what kind do you like? Is anybody using the kite/flyer? And does things differ from sport boat to private boat? All trolling.
I remember thinking back when, first getting on these sport boats and just troll spreading, back when the albacore thing and how there was boats I'd work on that wanted all 4 matching lures, and there's other boats that, outside short, inside long, other ones that wanted outside long, inside short. How we do on the Tomahawk, it's usually outside short, inside long, and at least the outside 2 matching and the 2 inside matching has been kind of this go-to thing. And for color, I feel like, we have this, sardine mackerel color, short bill like that. It's whichever color we choose, I try to have it matching. Might not matter at all. It's just more so of troll spread. I just always had that in my mind. Troll spread. And if it's not matching all 4, then it's a 2-and-2 match. Versus every single trolling lure being different. Yeah. I just think of uniform and, how those guys do it up north trolling for albacore, and it's like that spread. And, a lot matters to it. But yeah, it's...
Anybody ever fish a spreader bar on a sport boat? Is that really just a private boat technique?
I want to say one trip last year we did. We put one out, got one. It's just tougher from the sport boat. Yeah. And it's having that thing way back there as far as you need it, if it's one of those big tuna ones, and the winding it in. I think that was just that's not so favorable. And then they have those smaller spreader bars that guys do for, yellowfin, dorado, pelagic, stuff like that. We don't find ourselves doing them too much, like the splashes and stuff. It's, we don't use them too often.
Okay.
I know on the skiff, there's been a few trips when that big bluefin was around, those spreader bars saved us, not seeing it a bunch and, doing the whole kite thing and putting the flyers out. That spreader bar saved us and put us on some good bites, and then the flying fish out and, continuing catching that way. But yeah, it seems to be those Halcos are the hot lure and making sure, you have a couple of those. And I mean, the difference is compared to, way back, handful of years ago, compared for doing the trolling thing, is a lot don't come on. Like back in the day, everyone had their own troll pole, and it's like now we just have the 4 boat troll poles. Just ready at any time.
Go ahead,
I was just going to say, I'm sorry, Rick, but everything you just talked about, I mean, we've had this bluefin around for 12 years, and it's amazing every way they've bitten within those 12 years.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
And it's like all so different.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It is.
From like so difficult to get them during the day, and it's all nighttime bites to
flat falls to knife jigs to tungsten, trolling, spreader bars,
flyers on the kite.
Yeah.
I mean, just some of the ways we've done it.
Yep.
Yeah, yummy flyer, California flyers, rigged flyers.
And that's all in a 10-year period.
That
like
is.
all this different ways that they got just down a rut on that didn't want to divert from.
Invested. Money
Incredible.
spent on it.
But I'll tell you what, I won't complain with daytime fishing,
totally,
fly
man.
line,
Totally.
sliding on a sonar spot or a jig strike. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
That to me, in my heart, is offshore fishing.
Yeah, totally.
It is.
You know?
It is. Staple.
You've mentioned the Halcos. For those that aren't familiar, give us a rundown about like in general. Are you seeing more bites on the swimming style plugs? For lack of better words, everybody knows Rapala. Rapala style jigs. Has that been getting more jig strikes? Has it been cedar plugs, old school feathers?
It's been
What's
that,
the deal?
and it could be on the note that that's what we have in the water. I wouldn't be surprised if a guy had all feathers and gets jig strikes. It's just we, kind of drawn to those lately.
Those
and
plugs been working. Not broke, don't fix it.
Exactly. I mean, we could put 4 cedar plugs back there, and that'd just be the game, game time lure. But we just have been dragging those, and they've been getting bit. And always open to trying different things. Of course, we go half the day without getting a jig shot, we switch, and it's always just willing to adjust. As stubborn as I can be, I'm sure we could all be. It's like just knowing that, hey, today might not be the day they want that lure, but willing to adapt to it for sure.
Love it. Let's jump back in those phones, Corey.
Let's do that, Rick. How about John? John calling from Huntington Beach. Good morning, John.
What's up, John?
Hey, good morning, guys. So I got a couple questions. Who made the Tomahawk originally? Is it a Ditmar boat? And next question is, has anybody been out to the west looking for albacore this year?
Yeah. So the make of the Tomahawk, it was built in a private yard. I'm not sure the main goal for why the boat was built, but it was built in a private yard. Dart would have the
I was going to say we're going to need to research Dart and get the full lowdown.
The hull was purchased and was designed for the as a cat special, Catalina special, and built in a private setup up the way here up north, and transition boat was brought down here and switched to the whole offshore overnight more so approach. And
it's for the whole reason that probably the bunks are bigger.
Yeah.
The wheelhouse.
Yep. Tall. Exactly. Everything.
Because Dart is a tall dude.
Exactly.
Bob Fletcher is 6'3", 6'4".
Yeah, tall.
It might be taller. Yeah, exactly. And then the other part of the question was, has anybody gone? And by the way, thank you for the call, John. Has anybody gone west looking for albacore?
Not that I've heard.
Yeah.
Not that I've heard. But that'd be kind of a cool adventure exploratory trip out west just to see how far a guy would have to go. $1 million question there.
Yeah. And when that stuff floods into the Bight of California, it's usually within a few days somebody would catch one closer than out to the west.
I know. I feel like every season someone catches just a lost one. Oh, one eye. Yeah.
I had a fun text come through. It's a little long, but I thought it was a fun story. It says, I'm really enjoying this show and hoping I could relive a quick story. I was walking down the aisle at the PCS Costa Mesa show early on day one. As I approached the Fisherman's Landing booth, I saw the boss of bosses, Captain Frank Lepresti, was standing up front, so I walked over to say hi, having fished with him many times over the years. Dave was standing nearby in the booth, and Frank leaned into me and quietly and respectfully said, Dave is one of the best young captains we have in our entire fleet, and that I should really fish with him. I used to fish that boat back in the day as the Cat Special, but it's been a few years since I've been. When I spoke to Dave, the young man politely gave me his business card with his cell phone, said to call him anytime. I thought that was so professional, and I'm really looking forward, and I already have a trip booked to fish with him this season. Appreciate everything. That's from Steve.
Awesome.
Oh, cool.
Very kind.
I thought so, too.
I was there showing face, man. It was good. It was a lot of good talk, good conversation, a lot of good questions coming in, and I enjoy it. Plan on me being there, all those shows, and
they're fun, right?
I enjoy it.
Bill and the crew have created an environment that. I mean, did you partake in the Fred Hall shows? I loved them, and they were great.
When I was on the American Angler, yes.
Right. And they were awesome. There was nothing bad to say at all. But what Bill is doing with the PCS shows is just it's different.
It was quite something.
It's badass. It's a really cool environment.
I did my couple laps, and it was like, this is a lot of show here. I think I got halfway, and I was like, I'm going back to the booth.
Good stuff.
No doubt. I had another fun text come through. It says, I've got a question for Captain Dave. What tips could you give me offshore kelp patty fishing for my private skiff? Last season, when we were pulling up to kelps, it seemed like the ones that had bird on them all had fish, and the ones that didn't were all empty. Can I live by this rule? Do we need to try every one? What can I help do to eliminate the dead and keep myself on the good?
That's a good. I mean,
really good question.
First and foremost, great pair of binoculars, stabilized binoculars. Having Baker Marine right here down the street, that
you're looking right at them.
You cruise there,
Literally.
You get them right there in person, no shipping, worried about if they're going to get damaged if you're ordering them on Amazon. I mean, you go straight to the source. And
family owned.
I mean, supporting that company and the good they've did for all of our fleet and servicing our stuff. It's like,
And more than that, like, God forbid, when something does happen, you drop on the deck, like, try getting hold of some Amazon, eBay seller when you need service. Like that's where you're going to go.
And straight to it.
You're part of the family.
Exactly. Them doing what they do and keeping us, with good pairs of staboscopes is what we use. Fujinon staboscopes. I mean, it's definitely good to have, and it helps. I mean, even taking my staboscopes on the skiff, it's like just the difference. I mean, they're pricey, but in this day and age, you get what you pay for. I mean, there's the Techno Stabos too, which are great as well. I have a pair of those too. But as for being able to decipher which kelp has fish, that's a tough one. Of course, we always want the 10, 15 foot, Hotel California style kelp. But it's a toughie. I mean, there's trips you stop on a 3-footer and it's just the one, and you stop on a 10-footer and it doesn't have anything on it. It's I don't know. What do you got to add to it? It's a tough one. I mean, birds on it.
It's another gray
good
area. If you're in an area where it's loaded with kelps and you're stopping every 15 minutes and you're starting to cost yourself time,
probably not going to be holding.
Then it's just like we talked about with a good bait. There's a lot of, you often know when you're rolling up to it and you're licking your chops. You saw it in the gyros and you saw Dorado doing a backflip over the top of it, and there's 4 turns that are actively picking right on the thing, and there's another spot of 15 turns that are 100 yards down swell of it, and there's nothing around, and
that might be a juicy one.
And I think the same thing if you're driving by and you're finding that you're stopping far too often on dead ones and it's killing all of your time, either get out of that zone and get your put your blinders on and get to somewhere else. Maybe put the jigs back. Just don't spend as much time on one. Just stand up on top of your gunnel or on top of the house and look down. And if you see a huge presence of bait or you see a little ball of yellow squirt off, you can always circle back to it. I mean,
troll past it.
How do you say? Other than that, though, you gotta stop and prospect.
Dude, you laying out all those scenarios.
Buy a sonar.
That was it. As soon as you started saying, I was like, man, I should have reeled that off.
Right?
I got all stalled up there.
The easiest thing is just go buy a CH500 like David, and just drive by it and hit it with sonar and know they're there or they're not.
Exactly.
Why aren't we stopping on this one? Because I looked 500 feet on all sides of it and there was nothing there. We're going to keep rolling.
Hey, how about your jig strikes? Are those coming on me on sonar marks or blind?
Yeah, are you seeing them before it happens?
Blind jig strikes.
Really?
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, you might see some scattered bird drive through a little area and just blind jig strike.
Got me fired up, man.
Totally.
Another level of fire.
I mean, that's got to be cool, too, for you, because, you are so in tune. You're hearing the sonar click in. You're looking through the pipes. You're doing all the things you're supposed to be doing. And, like, previous years, like, you don't get surprised. You see it on the machine. You hear it on the machine. You see it in front of you. You get to game plan. You get to get ready. You take a couple of deep breaths before you go sliding into one when chaos, hook up!
Right, exactly. Everybody running.
Level of and that might turn into a 50-fish stop.
Yeah,
you never know.
Exactly.
Pandemonium, man.
Yeah, exactly.
That's cool.
Dave, you can sign me up for that
tip.
That's it. Hey, we'll be right back. You're listening to Southern California Sport Fishing Voice. If you're not fired up with that, we'll get you fired up when we return on the Let's Talk Hookup app, YouTube, Facebook Live, at 97.3 The Fan.
One rod has set the standard for serious saltwater anglers worldwide, and that's CalStar. From the rugged dependability of the West Coast Series, the lightweight strength of the Graphiter, or the performance of the GG Series, all CalStar rods are handmade right here in Southern California of the finest materials and craftsmanship. Check out the new CalStar models now available, as well as upgrades to the classic rods that you know and love. If you want your tackle to be state-of-the-art tools to get the job done right, it's CalStar at fine tackle dealers.
In 1976, Ford F-Series became America's best-selling truck. For nearly half a century, Ford has been passing mile markers and hitting milestones, leaving the competition behind as the best-selling truck brand in California. And your San Diego County Ford dealers plan to keep driving that success forward. Ford F-Series, on the road to 50 years of leadership. Let's go. Check out the entire Ford F-Series lineup and take a test drive today. Go to your local San Diego County Ford dealer.
I believe there is no doubt that the finest sport fishing in the world starts right here in San Diego. This is Captain Frank Lepresti. Our fleet of long-range boats and crew are unmatched, and the Royal Polaris and Shogun are right at the top of the list. Captain Jonathan Yamati and his crew aboard the Royal Polaris are considered to be the finest long-range vessel in the world. From summer bluefin, yellowtail, and wahoo to giant yellowfin tuna, Our record is unmatched. The Shogun, under the direction of Captain Rene Monteagudo, has become one of the most popular long-range boats in the fleet. This big, wide, solid riding vessel has gained a reputation for catching fish and treating their customers to an epic vacation on the water. I am so proud of Jonathan, Rene, and the crews on both the Royal Polaris and Shogun, as they have helped me keep the reputation of the premier vessels in the long-range fleet. Come see for yourself. Book a trip on the Royal Polaris or Shogun today. Check RoyalPolarisSportFishing.com or ShogunSportFishing.com or call Monica or Jen in the office at 619-226-8030.
Introducing new Power Pro Max 8 microfilament braided fishing line. It's built for offshore anglers seeking smooth casting and control. Power Pro Max 8 features an 8-carrier Spectra HT construction that cuts through current with ease for precise vertical jigging with a 25% thinner diameter. Available in white and metered 4-color for trolling spread control and precise jigging depths. It's stronger, smoother, and thinner. Power Pro Max 8 is now available at your tackle retailer.
All right, welcome back to Let's Talk Hookup, and having so much fun, man, talking us offshore fishing and daytime jig strikes. If you want to join us, you can do so. One open line at 833-288-0973. The line's been packed this entire time. Want to talk to Dave? Or you can send us a message. There's been a ton of texts coming through the app, and you can do that only through the app. It says right there, text the show. Make sure you do include way to get a hold of you, name and telephone number, because at the end of the show, we're giving away an overnight trip out of Fisherman's Landing. Super cool,
We'll take
right?
that. Well, it's been a very busy morning on the phones. And again, just like Corey said, if you want it, 833-288-0973 is how you get it. Let's jump into those phones, Corey.
Let's do it. How about Jim? Jim calling from National City. Good morning, Jim. Appreciate you joining us.
Hey, good morning, guys. I fished many years with Dave. A couple of years ago, I fished on his boat. And, the thing I was really impressed with Dave is how he could put such a good crew together in a short period of time. And, Skipper, what I'd like to know is how has your crew come together? I'm a little bit handicapped, and they were so helpful. I got a little trouble with balance, but they were so helpful getting me from my seat to the bait receiver and getting my bait hooked up. And then once I got on the rail, I was fine. I had something to hold on to. But anyway, how's your crew come together, Dave? And are you really happy with the progression of your crew?
I am. Young crew, kind of how I started. And, man, well-mannered, hardworking. And that's exactly it. I always tell them it's like, hey, fishing's one thing, and, fishing's going to be up and it's going to be down, but providing that good customer service. So real happy with my crew this year, and I think you would too, Jim. I'm good to hear your voice.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Well said. You have a great, that's one of the, again, we keep saying it, you have such a deep long range background of working on all the boats, and you can feel it on the way that things happen on the boat. And
yeah,
your guys should take care of people the same way.
Absolutely.
Jim, appreciate the phone call. Had another fun text, and we've been talking a lot about it, but I thought this was some great to add to it. And it's, good morning, gentlemen. All this talk about bait has been really interesting and one of my more favorite shows in a while. I have a question about how often to change my bait. I always hear people talk about if you don't get bit right away, you should change it. But what's the secret, and how fast are we talking? Do we let it swim for a while? Do we change it immediately? Thanks for your thoughts. That's from John and Whittier.
Yeah. So where your hook is placed, there's could either nose hook, butt hook, or shoulder hook. So definitely, considering that. Like if you're butt hooking bait, you're looking for a reaction bite, so you're not going to be able to soak that bait as long as you like. For the longer soak, say you're not seeing it boil all up everywhere, and occasional boil, you're going to want to plan on a longer soak. And nose hook, you'll get the longest soak out of it, get bit on the way out and the way in. Shoulder's kind of that in the middle. Lately, I think I've been more butt hooking than anything, because it's just been boiling up, showing like I'm looking to trigger these fish to bite a hard swimming angled down butt hook bait.
And you said a key ingredient there was the reaction bite.
That reaction bite
of getting that butt hook, and you're putting the hook like in the anal fin for strength.
Yeah, exactly. A little bone right there helps keep that hook placed.
You say
that's my go-to.
You say you can't do that on a long soak. Why is that?
Exactly. Just, I mean, you can. I mean, when I think long soak, I'm thinking like soaking way out there. And everyone's, I guess, definition for a long soak is a little different. My long soaks, I just don't have it in me to sit that long. Like I want to, if it's a good swimmer, I'll invest a little more time. But, 3-4 minutes is a long soak to me, and I want to just like, okay, this isn't the one. And maybe the bait just stops swimming, not swimming as good as I like. I'll wind and change it. That's just, I find myself being a little more aggressive when there's trips where, hey, maybe that couple more minutes soak with a good bait would have got me that bite, but just
I would bet
aggressive.
if you added everything up, I bet the average butt hook bait probably gets a bite in a staggering short amount of times. I bet a high percentage of it probably happens in the first 15 seconds.
Pretty quick.
It hits the water,
Exactly.
it bursts off, it's running, boom, you're bit. I mean, that's 4 seconds. You know what I mean? Like,
and
I bet
after
a lot of it is sub 30 seconds.
And after that 30 seconds, they're probably so worn out that it's not efficient at that point anyway, right? I mean,
and if you get a butt hook bait that gets way away from the boat and somebody's trying to long soak it, they'll spin and they helicopter
Twisting
and
your line
they
up.
twist your, they just don't do as good. Like, I mean, Dave said it. If you're gonna get something way away from the boat, you just got to nose hook it or shoulder hook it or.
So shoulder hooking, where would you put the hook?
It's right behind the head, just a little off, right behind the head, and it's, God, I see guys they hook that bait religiously that way, and they get bites.
Is it like, I mean, I'm guessing like halfway between the nose and the dorsal, like
pretty much,
like in that middle zone.
Middle zone, exactly. And it's the thing about that, hooking your bait that way, is it's tougher with circle hooks. It's a little more hard to get that hook in their place. With a J hook, it's more user friendly, but with a circle hook, it's hard to get that hook placed for that shoulder.
Especially with us wanting to downsize hooks and everything so much smaller. You're talking number
gap.
2s and number 4 circle hooks. There's not a lot of space between the point and the shank of that hook to get it in there.
What's the best way with that, do you think, Rick? Like
practice, holding your bait appropriately,
Yeah.
holding the nose of the bait forward, trying not to manipulate it too much. Repetition, there's no good way to say it. Like you don't have to go incredibly deep. You're not trying to surface iron cast that thing. Just get it. You got to keep it above the spine. If you go too deep when you're shoulder hooking, you nick that spine. The bait doesn't swim. So.
And I mean, honestly, shoulder hooking or butt hooking, the importance isn't getting it 50 feet from the boat. The importance is just getting it in the water, right?
Yeah, totally.
Like just slide it in underhand.
Yeah, it's definitely a more finesse cast versus the nose hook, where you could, not like a surface iron whip, but definitely can somewhat get a farther cast.
I used to always think, casting farther than the guy next to me was way more important. Starting with my bait 40 feet away from the boat instead of 20 feet away from the boat. I have completely changed that. I think a gentle entry on your bait, on a good bait, far exceeds you firing that thing up in the air and having it slam the water and stunned, and a good little underhand. Get that bait away from the boat and get him in the water, pointed away from you on hauling ass. I think that's a better way to go for me than firing a big cast and having that thing belly flop and slap the water.
Dude, I'm there. I'm already bit.
That's it.
Let's jump into those phones, Corey.
Let's do it. How about Chuck? Chuck calling from Dana Point. Good morning, Chuck.
What's up, Chuck?
Hey, you guys. Great show. 2 things. So when you're butt hooking, I love butt hooking them. If it starts bleeding, should I go to another bait, or do you throw that thing in?
If it was boiling all over the place, I would still use it. It's
get it in the water.
Just get it in the water. I mean, it's not the preferred by any means, but if you hear the guy in the tank yelling consistent boil, I mean, and the bait looked good originally, and you got a little bit of blood, I still cast it out. But 30 seconds. If it's running good, give it a little 30 seconds of swimming. Just mental note of give it a little bit of time, and if it does die off, stop swimming. Why didn't change it?
We've talked a lot about live bait fishing, and this has been great. Like I have learned a bunch, and I hope our audience does too. How about maybe one of the most important things is when you are fishing a bait, how do you avoid ending up in a tangle with the guy next to you? What are you talked about picking a good bait and hooking a good bait. Like, how about the fishing part of it?
I'm big on, not just the back spool, like textbook back spool, like, okay, there's my bait. Well, I'm on the note of like bait's running, stops, maybe spool goes a little bit more. I put it in gear. I take a few winds, feel that bait, like direct contact, and then I'm back in the free spool. And I'm nonstop doing that. Like I'm fishing that bait, feeling it.
You're in a tight line connected to it all the time.
I don't want any belly because you figure you're on a long soak, decent soak. You have not only the current stripping line off your reel, not only the bait, but the current stripping line off your reel. So then you just start to form this big belly. You got a swell on top of that. You got all these factors stripping line off your reel when in reality your bait could just be hanging out. So you get all this slack built up. So putting it in gear versus the back spool, you are, for sure eliminating those bellies. So when your neighbor winds in, he's not going to pick you up because if you get picked up by your neighbor and you didn't feel it, then you have way too much slack out of it because it should feel like a bite until you're like, oh, he got me.
And it's where you're starting that process too, like the way the boat is drifting, and you don't want to walk to the starboard corner and put it in if you're everyone's starting in the port corner.
You're starting that downwind corner and shift up. And I mean, any type of bluefin plunker, I still enjoy hooking a bait and cruising to the bow, pitching that bait off the bow. Yeah.
Right. And there's a lot of people that don't realize, and I don't know about the Tomahawk, but I assume that you drift stern first.
Yeah.
And that's what a lot of people don't connect and understand, right?
Yeah.
Like, you're chumming them up, you're sliding ones and twos in off the stern, but the boat is drifting stern first, and the majority of what's happening is actually going toward the bow.
Bow's a spot, man. I enjoy it.
I hate to give it up for those that enjoy it. I think I just did.
A little nest up there,
How about another fun text? Fun to hear from Dave and the Tomahawk. Hey, to follow up on trolling, would you encourage or discourage customers who want to bring their own trolling rod? I found it very interesting that you liked having matching trolling jigs, so I get that aspect of it also.
Yeah. It's more so just more stuff to lug down. I mean, if you have a troll pole and want to fish it, or maybe got it as a gift and want to use it, absolutely. But we keep fresh line on all our trollers. It's there, it's ready, it has the lures that have been working. It's just gives you time to focus on those other setups, finesse, knife jig setups, fly line setups. Gives you more time to mess with those, and just know that when it's your time to troll, you got something that's ready to rock.
Mm-hmm.
How far, if you haven't already, are you from rigging up? And I'm asking this from the nostalgic part and people that can remember. How far are you away from rigging up a boat line?
Oh.
Right?
I'd have to acquire some of the gear. It's been a while.
But it's so minimal.
I still have a couple baldies that I have stashed.
Exactly.
Those are textbook.
I really liked. If you didn't see, after I mentioned before that Aftco made a fun social media post. It was just one of the old Clipperton trips on the RP, and that was one of the favorite parts too. Is you look at both corners on the back of that stern, and there's a milk crate. Yeah, there's a milk crate. Tuna cord, tie it up, ready to roll. Like that boat line was in and everything.
Oh, that was the pinhead.
Crew's got to eat, man.
Yeah, right. Here's something that was cool when we had Joel Ralston on, talking albacore fishing, and they put their outriggers. There's boats that have outriggers off the bow, and they get bit on the short leash, like in front of the bow almost.
Right.
Like they get bit so close to the boat, it's incredible.
That's cool.
That, right?
I love that.
I would bring that back, especially just how wide the Tomahawk is. Like it fishes 4 trollers and then enough room to have a boat line. That'd be fun.
It would be fun.
Right?
Let's go back on those phones, Corey. You got me pumped.
I know, right? This show,
so dude.
You could actually, right now, you could get me offshore. Seriously. Yeah.
I feel bad for the boys of the shop. I'm going to come in firing this morning.
I know, right? Let's talk to Rick. Rick's calling from Vista. Good morning, Rick. Appreciate you joining us.
Hey, Rick.
Thanks, guys. Dave, Rick, and Luca. I can't say enough about your boat, man. Your boat, your guys. Chase, Boots, down in the deck, Nick in the galley. The food was amazing. Just want to say, Dave, we went to the PCS boat show. My wife and I just specifically looking to get Luca on the boat. Talked to some of the super long range guys, and they all kept pointing at you like that's the boat you want to be on. So we went up, introduced ourselves. I think you were there with your son.
Yeah.
I think maybe Chase was there, but just from the boat show till this morning when I got off that boat. I haven't even made it all the way home yet.
Oh, that's cool.
But nothing short of a class act. Rick, I don't even think you sleep, man. You are all over that boat. Just a quick thing. I mean, Dave's just always making suggestions. I was on 30 pound. He's like, hey, if anybody wants to strip that 30 and throw some 20 on, I handed my rod up. Dave, you had it up, stripped, 20 on it, hook tied on it for me. I swear it was like 3 minutes.
I love
and
that.
And boom, 5 minutes later, I'm hooked up to my first bluefin on a trip.
That's
so, Dave,
awesome.
Thank you so much for the trip, for the introduction. You guys are amazing. Nothing short of a class act.
Thank you so much. I
Wow,
appreciate
that's
it, man.
cool,
Look
Rick.
forward to seeing you guys again, man.
Well said. That's
Yeah.
awesome. What was the size of your fish, Rick?
Oh, it was small. Little one, but fought really good. It wasn't so much about the fish being caught. It was about showing Luca a good time.
Yep.
Awesome.
And we did exactly
Awesome.
Rad. Love to hear it, man. What a great phone call, buddy. Appreciate it very much.
Thank you, bud.
And they're going to be having sashimi or
Yeah.
poke
Yeah,
like
exactly.
today.
Magically
they're all
delicious.
They're all the same size in a California roll.
Oh, yes, please, and thank you.
Cool.
Good stuff. Thank you.
All right. And why don't we jump back into the phones? Corey, sneak a couple in there.
Let's do that. How about Dan? Dan calling from West Covina. Good morning, Dan.
What's up, Dan?
Hey, good morning, Corey, Rick, and Captain Dave.
Good
Dave,
morning.
it's nice to talk to you.
Yeah.
I was just referencing back when you guys were talking about the kelp patties when you're checking them out, see if they have fish or not, if they're holding. How far do those side scanning sonars pick that up so that you guys can basically say, okay, this is worth going after, or no, let's just pass on it? Because I've been on some trips where, hey, there's a kelp patty going by, and I said, yeah, they probably already scanned it.
Yeah,
and I just
exactly.
said, oh, okay, that makes sense. Is that kind of how you guys operate?
Yeah, a lot of times whether our range is 400 to 500 feet, that's our little kind of cushion area where we like to fish our sonars. The sonars go out to 1,000 feet. It's just a slow back and forth, but nosing up to them, I feel like daytime we're 400 or 500 feet away with our tilt up high, so we can see it. At least if it's something substantial, we can see it from a ways away. Granted, you pull up to it and see a yellowtail right underneath it, so it's a lot of times pulling up alongside of it. Getting on the PA saying, hey, we're going to troll by it, check it out. If we see something nosing up to it, then we'll stop. If we find ourselves in one of those areas where kelps are in abundance, not in the favorable way, but just like, man, these, maybe the kelps get caught in a rip or something. And it's just kelp after kelp, kelps on all sides of us, which is not what you want. You want to maybe not see a kelp for an hour and then bam, you find one out of nowhere. I feel like that's it's like, all right, cool. This is, chance of packing some fish. So it's
you
a
might
troll
not-
by thing for us a lot of times. If we don't see anything on the sonar, you'll see me hang my head out the window and the guy on the roof look down to see, because there is sometimes yellowtail like right up underneath them hanging out. Dorado, yellowtail.
I was going to say, you might not see a single fish that's hanging tight to the kelp, but if there's a ball of fish, you're going to see it. And you stop. I mean, I would assume you stopping the boat because there's a single yellowtail on a single kelp probably just doesn't. It's there's probably better use of your time. That 25 minutes that it takes to get the boat stopped and hook the one fish and catch it and put it back down, that's 25 minutes that you might find the mother load or the big ball of fish or whatever else.
Yeah, true. And in hopes of it biting the jigs too, if it is just a little off the kelp and maybe the machines didn't get it. But this technology we have on our machine, electronics, is advanced. I mean, it does what it needs to do for sure.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I had a fun text from Aaron. Says, Dave, there's been so much talk about live bait. Could you describe what your personal favorite rod and reel for live bait fishing tuna on a 3-day on board the Tomahawk would be?
25 pound rig. My go-to is a 278 foot. That was my go-to. Just a touch more length. And I have a 277 foot. 7.
Mm-hmm.
And it's probably my go-to. I feel like, and it's like the reels I'm back and forth. I have a handful of different Daiwa Shimano, like a Trinidad. Like I have all of them, but it's at least for the 278 foot's my go-to.
And I know you talked about it earlier in the show, but what's your line setup? Your Spectra as a backing?
Spectra as a backing for my lighter pound test. I'm not just slapping 65 pound braid on my spool. My 25 pound rig, I got 30-40 pound Spectra max.
It's a really skinny Spectra.
It's less drag on the bait when you do get deep into your Spectra. I know when I first started, it was all 65 back. And
You're
you
right
had
about
a big
that, yeah.
spool of it. Like, now I'm finesse.
Yeah,
Yeah,
everything
finesse.
in favor of the bait.
Yes.
I love it.
Yes.
Max Quattro would put more line on the reel and a smaller diameter. Hey, we're going to be right back. We're going to find out who's won this overnight trip out of Fisherman's Landing when we return with Dave Ibrahim on the Let's Talk Hookup app, YouTube, Facebook Live, and 97.3 The Fan.
Every boater wants reliability and peace of mind on the water, and that's exactly what Towboat US San Diego provides. As part of the largest on-water towing fleet in the nation, Towboat US San Diego is ready to respond when you need them. 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. As a member, you get free towing, free fuel delivery, free jump starts, and many more services. Now is a great time to sign up for a Boat US membership, as they are celebrating their 60th anniversary by giving away a 21-foot Grady White boat, plus lots of other prizes. Entry is free. Sign up at BoatUS.com. Let's face it, when you're out on the water, things happen fast. And Towboat US San Diego can help you get home safe. Their fleet of boats and professional captains are standing by ready to lend you a hand when you need it. Membership is inexpensive and is certainly a must-have for any boat owner. Check BoatUS.com for details and sign up for the Grady White Boat Giveaway, which ends June 15th. Towboat US San Diego, your friend on the water.
Turner's Outdoorsman, Southern California's #1 shooting, hunting, and fishing tackle retailer since 1971, is right in your neighborhood. Now with stores throughout Southern, Central, and Northern California. No one does it better. Turner's Outdoorsman brings you the best prices and selection, plus a knowledgeable staff that will help make your day on the water or in the field more fun. Stop by your neighborhood Turner's Outdoorsman. To find a location nearest you, check the web at turners.com and sign up for special deals and more.
Hi, this is Captain Ray Lopez, owner-operator of the American Angler. I've spent more than half my life aboard the American Angler along with my partners Brian and Lori, developing a team that's as good as it gets. I've been fortunate to spend time on the ocean with so many fine people that I look forward to fishing with. We can't thank you enough for being part of the American Angler family, and if you haven't joined us, we love the opportunity to meet you. Text or call Lori at 619-223-5414 or check AmericanAnglerSportFishing.com.
Shimano has taken trolling for big fish to the next level. Introducing the new Shimano Ledge Runner. They set a new standard for offshore diving plugs. Featuring a patented technology, the Shimano Ledge Runner offers seamless depth shifting from shallow to deep ranges while maintaining stable swimming actions, even at high trolling speeds. Designed with durability and longevity in mind, Ledge Runner is available in 2 sizes and an array of colors. One, its amazing features is ADR, or Adjustable Depth Range, a feature that enables anglers to change trolling depths with ease and efficiency. In addition, the Shimano Ledge Runner has HCW, or Hydro Control Wing, a stabilization feature ensuring that the lure swims straight, even at high speeds. Be ready to hear that clicker go off with the Shimano Ledge Runner. Available now at your local Shimano dealer.
This is Rock Cod Rick for Adventure in Camping, where they bring the adventure to you. If you enjoyed camping in the Eastern Sierra but don't own an RV or a trailer, or simply don't want the hassle, let Adventure in Camping park it for you. Check out their website, adventureincamping.com, select from over 75 campgrounds they serve, decide on a trailer floor plan that fits your needs, request a quote for your desired vacation dates, then just show up and start your adventure. Adventure in Camping makes it so simple. They deliver the trailer to your spot and you enjoy a clean, spacious trailer. When it comes time to go home, just close the door and drive away. It doesn't get any easier. If you enjoy camping in the Eastern Sierra but don't want the hassle, Adventure in Camping is for you. Check out adventureincamping.com for details. Make sure you mention that Rock Cod Rick sent you for a special price. adventureincamping.com.
All right, welcome back to Let's Talk Hookup. And if today's show didn't get you fired up, right? Better check your pulse.
Yeah, I know.
Go ahead and flip the coin, Dave.
Yeah,
One lucky texter or caller here on the table. Yeah. Oh, texter. And the texter happens to be Riley in San Marcos. Congratulations on an overnight trip out of Fisherman's Landing.
Awesome.
Beautiful.
Dave, what a great show. So stoked having you literally walk from the boat into the studio. Information gets no fresher. Such an awesome job. We just love what you do. We love you keeping us in touch. We love when you call the show. If somebody wants to get in on all the fun fishing on the Tomahawk, the season is just underway. how do we come fishing with you? Because I'm in. I'm totally sold.
Contact Fisherman's Landing, 619-221-8500. Book your trip, fishermanslanding.com, tomahawksportfishing.com.
You mentioned earlier, still an opportunity to charter the boat?
Still opportunity to charter the boat.
Okay.
You know, it's slowly gathering dates. It's kind of a good feeling to see people, wanting to come charter, whether it's their friends, family charter group or work charter group. But availability is there. Call Fisherman's Landing.
Awesome. Great job, man. Well, we loved having you. Lots of fun, and really appreciate everything, dude. Great job.
Thank you.
Hey, great for you, too. Loved having all the phone calls and fun. Another couple of great shows coming for you next weekend. Next Saturday, Captain Andy from Fish Emeryville is going to be joining us. And the next Sunday, Bruce Smith from East County Bait and Tackle and Friends of San Diego City Lakes. Big thanks to Kyle for keeping us on the fan. We'll look forward to talking to you next week. It's Let's Talk Hookup, Southern California sport fishing voice on the Let's Talk Hookup app, Facebook, and YouTube Live.